Welcome back to Tiny House DIY. We're in Australia, Queensland. It's summer here, it's really hot, and I'm ready to do the street side of the tiny house, the roofing iron. So in a previous video I showed you how to store the sheets and prepare them, and this one here is a first sheet, so we have to be really careful that we've got these. I use this top sheet here as a marker because we need to take this valley off to start with, because at the front of the tiny house, because that's the prevailing wind if you're traveling with it, this needs to be on top of the sheets, and the sheets need to be tucked under on the way down. So our first sheet we have to take off. We end up with two of these ridges. So there'll be a ridge on, this is the top sheet, so I'm only using it as a marker. I'll show you in a moment. So make sure these are lined up correctly. This sheet is out. I've played with this for the last 5 minutes, but it's actually out. So what I'll do is I'll run a pencil line. Don't run Nico along here. It's too hard. It's too thick to actually cut on. So press down as you're going along. I'll try and do that as I go. Press down your sheet and make sure you've got a nice tight straight line, and that's what you're going to cut on. Now I did buy a nibbler to do this job, and I didn't get through half a sheet, and it was one of those nibblers that it wasn't a cheap one, it was actually a good brand, and it's to go in a drill, but I didn't get through half a sheet and the nibbler broke, and then I had a look at the reviews. Make sure if you're buying tools, do have a look at reviews. Some of them are biased. There are other companies that are, just putting dummy reviews on there. But it certainly lived up to the standard of the reviews that were on the actual site where it was bought from, that it was no good. So yeah, these, if you can see down here, it's only very slightly out, but I could muck around once I get up on the roof. It's good to know those things, measure them. It's only slightly out, but probably enough to be annoying. So from there, make sure you wear your gloves. I've had to take my gloves off to actually film. I couldn't press the button on it. And there's your line. So I'm just going to put this down for a sec, move this away. Sorry about that. These are the two. I have 3. I started out and all I was using was a straight set, and I used them for about a year before I sort of needed anything else. I wasn't real good with these are called aviation shears. I wasn't real good with them. So when you do, I recommend that you buy them in a set and buy a really good brand. Don't buy the cheap stuff. You will, on the tiny house, if you're a DIYer, if you're doing your guttering, you've got your roofing to do, you'll use them. And your framing, if you're going to use steel frame. So it's certainly worth investing. These weren't too bad. These are about $30 a set. But to start with, I only used the straight set, and then I watched some YouTube videos, and I soon worked out that I actually needed the right hand. I do have the left hand as well, whether it's because I'm actually a left-hander, but when I'm actually cutting things, I'm using my right hand. I don't know, it's a weird thing. So practice with them, get some old tin, and particularly your your tin, if you're going to use that, or you're going to use trim deck, and practice. I get a pretty good straight line with these. And the thing is, it doesn't matter too much along here, because at the end of the day, there's going to be, I'll just show you, there'll be a roll. I think it's called gable roll, I think. It's not the ridge capping, but I chose something a bit more traditional because I do have that big 33-degree gable on it. So this will actually, that's why I've got to cut it back. I can't have, I've got to actually have that ridge there for this to go in. So that's how that will actually sit in. But make it nice and neat, and when you're finished cutting that off, see how that can't go in there because it's got to actually sit further in. I'll just see it come this way. Don't mind my gazebo that's just about to fall down. We had a pretty wild storm through here the other day, and it's really hot out here at the moment. So it's nearly 5:30 before I'm actually starting my afternoon shift. I've been up since 4 and probably got out at about 4:45 before I had enough light to work this morning. So yeah, that has to happen. Make sure that you are. It is important. I didn't do it with the first tiny house. I didn't know about it. That you actually you have your sheets tucked under so that when the tiny house travels, you're not having the wind hit the sheets. All right. I'll come back and show you that cut off, and I'm sure if I had more strength, I'd do it in one piece, but I actually take piece by piece out of it to get it off. A nibbler would be great if they work, and I will buy an actual dedicated corded nibbler because they are needed along the way. The other thing is when you're finished cutting that sheet or anything that you cut with it, make sure that you come along, I'm not going to do it now, and spray that edge. So don't leave it open like that. Put a dummy sheet on, and then the cut edge, you will actually go and seal that off. Do both sides, front and back. Make sure you don't spill over onto the actual iron, but this will be tucked under. So I'll put a dummy sheet over the top of this here, and then I will spray that. Now I have a huge favour to ask the tiny house community. If you would be so kind as to like and subscribe as well as share, it will help others to put a roof over their heads by learning what to do and what not to do. I look forward to sharing the next leg of the journey with you all. So click the notification bell to be notified when we upload the next video. Until next time, be building confidence and have a go.